Good morning.
Good morning.
And, thank you all for coming for yet another discussion on the critically important topic of education. We discussed yesterday some of our initiatives in our higher education reform, reinvestment, restructuring proposals, and today I want to spend some time talking about K-12 and a couple of new initiatives this year. I appreciate the leadership of our legislators that are here with us today. Some who will be speaking and are carrying some of the initiatives. Delegate Jimmy Massey, Delegates Tad Greason and Ellen Cowell, and Senator Mark Ogunshane. I think Vicki Bell was also going to be here, and of course Secretary of Education Gerard Robinson, Superintendent of Public Instruction Pat Wright. I'm very fortunate to have a great team in our K-12 leadership, and excited with some of the things that they are doing administratively and some of the things that we're going to propose this year. I want to say a couple things to start. One, I'm just delighted that we have such a highly recognized K-12 education system in Virginia. Just recently, Education Week ranked Virginia schools fourth in the nation in overall quality, and it's something that really everybody in this room that is involved in education should be very pleased with. I know over the last year we've worked with representatives of the Superintendent's Association, School Boards Association, DEA, other leaders to continue to try to focus on this critically important topic of finding new ways to get young people more quality access to the American dream by having a great education. And this is good news with our rankings. We also have been ranked number 3 in the number of kids in Virginia that take AP courses, which is yet another sign that there are high standards of achievement that we have and that young people self-impose on themselves by wanting to take some of these AP classes. Now, last year, as you know, we engaged in several reforms with charter schools and college laboratory schools, virtual schools, all pieces of legislation that got passed are in effect now. Have great participation and cooperation with all the major education associations in helping us to craft those bills. I'm delighted to say that last week, the State Board of Education, with President Eleanor Saslaw's leadership, finally now passed these new procedures and policies to implement the charter school and college laboratory school bills. So now we're off and running and can really be aggressive now in being able to get some of these schools up and running, and I know Secretary Robinson is making that a top priority. There's some other things that have happened administratively that you don't hear a lot about, but I wanted to make sure you know about with the terrific work of our school boards, our principals, and our teachers. We have now whittled the number of unaccredited schools down in Virginia to 19. It was just at about 72 just a couple of years ago, and that's an extraordinary accomplishment by our education professionals that they've been able to do that. But we've still got some areas like Norfolk with 5 and Richmond and Petersburg with 3 each. Where we've just got too many young people that are not going to an accredited school. Some of the initiatives today I think will help in that regard. With the leadership of the General Assembly last year, we approved about $110 million in technology bonds, getting high-tech resources, computers, laptops, iPads into the classroom. And we issued about half those bonds last year. The next half of those bonds will issue here in the next few months so that we can equip our classrooms with the best state-of-the-art technology for our teachers to use. Financial literacy continues to be a critically important topic for our education system. I think everybody acknowledges what happened in 2008. If we had more, frankly, young people and adults that understood basic economics and more about our financial system, maybe we would have averted some of the problems that we've faced in America the last couple of years. But the financial literacy programs will become part of the SOL requirements now with the 9th grade classes that start in the fall of 2011. I think this is an important accomplishment that not only do we have young people trained well in all the STEM disciplines and things that are going to be necessary for a new job, but basic life skills, like financial literacy, that we are going to make that part of our requirements, and Dr. Wright will make sure those are properly implemented this fall. We also are working on increasing the number of dual enrollment programs, making sure that young people that have the inclination and the aptitude have the ability to be enrolled both in high school and the community college system at the same time. And Dr. Wright is working on an agreement with both Chev and the Virginia Community College System Board that will be done soon to be able to accelerate the number of young people that can take advantage of dual enrollment. And that's a win across the board. Young people can get out of high school maybe even a little bit early, but then maybe have significant credits towards their higher education degree. They get that done more quickly. They take up less slots for Virginia students in our higher education system, and so it becomes a win-win, I think, for our entire system. So there's a lot of things that are going on in our K-12 and higher education systems that I think are very positive, and the bottom line is the bottom line, and that is the results continue to get better. But at the same time, I think it's critically important we don't rest on our laurels. I directed Dr. Wright last year in some of our discussion with the Race to the Top program when we elected not to compete, to take a look at our standards of learning. The main reason we didn't is we did not want to have the National Common Core standards imposed and mandated on Virginia, and to undermine our 15-year-old validated standards of learning that all of you that are leaders of the education establishment have worked very hard to make sure that we've got in place. However, when we look at what's going on in India and China and Singapore and other states, we cannot be complacent or comfortable that just because we think we've got good standards that they can't get better. So Dr. Wright has been working over this last year, and we've made some revisions in both the math and the English standards. The English standard, I believe, is done. The math standard is done also, to be able to elevate those to make sure that we either meet or exceed the standards that are in the Common Core, so that if we do have another opportunity for Race to the Top funds, we don't want to have any problems with being able to be up to those standards. So there are many positive things going on. So that leads me to where we are today. We've got a couple of initiatives that we want to announce today that I think will take some of the next steps in Virginia's path of innovation and leadership nationally, and being able to come up with things that will work well, that will provide incentives for teachers and principals, but perhaps more than anything else is to keep the promise that I think that all of us embrace, and that is that a young person's opportunity should not be constrained by their zip code, but should be a function of their intellect, their God-given talents, and their work ethic. That's what should determine success in America. And so we want to make sure that no matter where a young person lives, that they've got great opportunities with great teachers in great schools, and it means doing something about these 19 that are still not up to standards. So we've got two initiatives that I wanted to announce today, working with our leadership here in the General Assembly. The first will be a rather significant pilot program to create incentive pay for teachers, or performance pay for teachers, especially targeted to sort of some of the hard-to-staff school divisions in certain regions of the state. One thing that's important to realize about America is that people are motivated by results. They're motivated by performance. We saw that this year in the performance bonus that we put forward in the state budget, which was tied to the ability of our state workers to conserve resources and to cut spending at the end of the fiscal year. Even after cutting $10 billion, when we put that incentive bonus of 3% out there and tied it to cut spending and saving at the end of the year, guess what? hardworking people, state employees of Virginia, found another $175 million that they didn't spend of your money at the end of the year. Well, that's the way the private sector works, and that kind of entrepreneurial thinking, I think, is something that everybody should welcome in our K-12 system. So this Virginia Performance Pay Incentive Initiative will recognize and reward highly effective and qualified teachers who have actually worked and delivered results to improve student achievement in some of those hard-to-staff school divisions of our state. It will be based on a competitive grant for school divisions on a pilot basis in about 8 areas, I believe, around the state, so that we will get a good look at how things work in different geographies with different challenges. And those incentives will range up to $5,000 per teacher that meet the criteria that are outlined. Some school divisions are at a greater disadvantage in being able to recruit quality teachers, particularly in some of those STEM disciplines that are so critically important to a young person's success. It occurs for a lot of different reasons, but we really believe that these pilot programs that will recognize and now reward teachers financially for earning an exemplary performance rating and contributing to certain measurable goals, including an increase in student achievement, will do an awful lot towards making sure that we recruit and retain the very best and brightest teachers in Virginia. All of you know this has been something that President Obama has embraced at the national level to have more charter schools, more performance pay, and Secretary Duncan has been down in Virginia several times at my request to speak on this and other issues about the innovative reforms happening nationally, and it's certainly high time that we embrace those in Virginia. The second initiative that we'll announce today will be legislation to establish an education improvement tax credit for our state. Now, what this legislation will do will be to provide tax credits to businesses who donate to nonprofit organizations that provide scholarships to young people that attend non-public schools. But it'll be based on those young people that are in low-income areas that are qualified for free and reduced lunch. Because let's face it, people that are in the upper income are people of means that have effective choice because of their earning potential. But effectively, people that are in the lower income areas that don't have an effective choice. And so being able to give scholarships to these young folks by having businesses donate money does a couple positive things. One, it creates more opportunity for these young people that might not have a choice. And secondly, it saves the state money, because we're going to plan on giving about a 70% tax credit to the businesses that make the donations. But guess what? It saves 100% of the cost of educating that same child in a public school. Now, this is based on a plan that passed about 10 years ago in the state of Florida, and it's been such an overwhelming success. They've gone back several times to increase the caps on the tax credits, and every time they do, they have a greater bipartisan majority of the Florida General Assembly that's embracing this idea of some tuition tax credits. So we've got a very successful, empirically validated model in Florida and some other states that will now open up some new doors for our young people here in Virginia. We believe that the business community will also embrace this model, will allow them to take advantage of a 70% tax credit, and that they will donate the dollars that will make this a meaningful program in our state. So I'm very excited about these two new initiatives on top of the many things that we're doing administratively and will continue to do to target more resources to the classroom and to provide more opportunities for young people to have effective choices with excellent teachers. I appreciate some of the work that's been done by our friends in education, school boards associations, superintendents, the DEA, all of who have given us input on some of these initiatives, have worked with us over the last year on a number of these initiatives, and I look forward to our continued work together to be able to provide a higher quality K-12 education. We're good. Being ranked fourth is not bad. I think we can do even better than that, and some of these creative initiatives will help to get us there. So